Or that's pretty much exactly what Raven needed to stay in this game. That teacher would have made 2 more 1-1s if Jamie chose to play the Moonglade portal this time.
And you know, that was very calculated from Raven as well. Like, he had the choice there. Do I go for the totem, or do I play the Mana totem in hand? And he figured the best chance to win the game is to go for that spell power totem, and he was rewarded.
Yeah. So Jammy should definitely ramp here. The thing about Malagos Druid is that pretty much, for the most part, you just ramp, and then you end up drawing Azure Drakes, you draw like Nourishes and stuff, but he's choosing to make a minion here. I'm not sure how much I like this.
Wow. Okay, that is a huge turnaround for Raven.
Yeah.
2 Totemic Knights, followed by Primal Wrath, meaning that that spell power totem can actually destroy the 3-3 if he chooses to.
Pretty good. The swipe here is going to be a little bit annoying for Raven, but
is it?
I don't know. Those are some pretty tanky totems right now, and with that Primal Fusion as well.
Whoa, whoa, whoa! What happened? What happened here? What happened here?
Looks
he
like
played the Primal Fusion, but it
looks like it's the Hearthstone special. Spectator mode.
No, it doesn't even look like it's Hearthstone
Raven
special because
looks like he's.
Oh.
Raven looks flustered as well. So is this a prime example of a Hearthstone bug?
You can just see
example.
Raven's just opened up Skype. You can see the reflection on his face. There we
oh
go.
my goodness. Okay.
Wow. Okay. Well, we have a game-breaking bug on our hands.
Wow.
It's starting to look so good for Raven there
I know,
as well.
and then cards vanish from the face of the earth.
The thing is that Raven's turn was broken, but it's not supposed to break the game.
But actually broken.
Wrong kind of broken. Yeah, I think that's fair to say. A little bit unfortunate there for Raven, and I don't know. I would assume I don't know the rulebook off by heart myself. I would assume that the rule would be to go for a remake, which I gotta say kind of sucks for Raven after that combo getting pulled off.
Yeah, it almost sucks for both players because Jamboree had the first turn that was so strong. He was ahead. Raven was just making this comeback, but Jamboree didn't actually get to see the Primal Fusion.
Jammy,
sorry. Jammy didn't actually get to see the Primal Fusion, meaning he may have still felt that he was somewhat in a good position. So it's one of those awkward situations where both players are going to feel very upset about this.
I think it's never going to be a fun situation, right? The game just happens to break, and it's like, okay, well, I guess we go again. It's yeah, I don't know. Unfortunate situation. I'll wait for the admin ruling on this one before I say anything officially here on stream, but I will assume that it's going to be probably a remake on this one, just for the sake of fairness. So we will be... Oh, apparently the game is still live.
Okay, it might have just been like...
It may well have been spectator.
But Raven didn't look happy.
No. It might have been some sort of disconnect thing, and then like maybe he came back and is fine. So it looks like we're gonna get right back into it? Question mark?
You know what's? I think it's actually most frustrating for us, the audience, there, because we missed that incredible Primal Fusion.
It did work. The
Okay,
Primal Fusion is on the spell power totem, so we are now obviously in the eyes of Raven.
Switch sides.
Apologies about kind of overlays and audio and things, but you know, with the scenario at hand, we've had to improvise a little.
So
it's one of those rare situations here where Raven's actually upset that that spell power totem didn't just kill itself off, because now he had to trade in the Wicked Witch Doctor, which I'm sure he was hoping would stay in this until the late game.
I mean, yeah, because the healing totem is... I mean, arguably the healing totem is worth more than the Wicked Witch Doctor, too, at this point. Right, where you just, like, heal things back up. But Jammy has the swipe, as we can remember. So last turn he did innervate out the Ancient of War and Taunt. And, so this swipe is going to be pretty annoying. I think I would just take out... I think from Jammy, I would have preferred to take out the Manatide totem, right? Because the thing is, the Flamestone totem is annoying. Oh, okay, so he's in Living Roots as well. Okay, that's fine then.
Barnes, obviously a very relevant card in Raven's hand right now.
So Thunderbluff Valiant,
Thunderbluff Valiant, or even another Wicked Witch Doctor is still decent. Not quite now for Raven, but let's see what he gets with it.
It's not so bad, I guess.
Taunt, not the worst, far from the best.
Yes, definitely.
There we go, we're going to drop that thing from below. And that healing totem is just going to continue to get tankier and tankier over the turns until it's dealt with. And as well, let's bear in mind, I think there'll be another Primal Fusion in this deck to be dealing with. So you have to be concerned about how many totems you allow to survive versus this deck.
I mean, the thing is that the Druid player, someone has inevitability, right? So unless there's a Thunderbluff Valiant coming down from, wow.
Whoa,
Bloodlust.
there's the Bloodlust. We all knew it was there, and I think Raven might actually drop this to trade with the Arcane Giant. I don't know if you can afford to not play it this turn.
Okay.
Well, I guess if you don't play it, like, you lose a lot in terms of board presence. You lose a lot in terms of the trades as well.
I don't actually think that you trade with the 8/8. So you want to push... Oh man, it's so awkward because the face damage doesn't matter. They usually only run one Bloodlust. So if he pushes all the damage to face, then I believe Jammy will be down to 6. But what does he actually have afterwards? So I actually like this play from Raven. It gives him some sort of top deck outs. But this Moonglade Portal, just showing why Moonglade Portal is so insane.
Yeah, Moonglade Portal is really strong here. It's just the fact that in one card you can heal for 6 and also put a minion on the board. And the thing is, Moonglade Portal, this is a 6-mana minion. It gives you a really high chance to get something incredibly relevant, be that a Sylvanas or a Thaurissan even.
Or even some of the quote-unquote bad cards, maybe some arena cards as we call it. You know, you have Argent Commander, Reckless Rocketeer.
Yeah.
These cards are so amazing. And then sometimes you can
Kodo
get like
Rider.
a Kodo Rider. It's so ridiculous. I think that this card far exceeded most people's expectations.
And I think that can be said about a couple of the portals as well,
Yeah.
you know, because...
Like Iron Forge.
Yeah, exactly. A lot of people, when the portals were announced, were kind of like, just didn't like the kind of almost randomness, like that kind of, you don't know what you're going to get. But I think in general, you kind of... just the sheer value of the card pays for that.
And the thing is, whereas Hearthstone does have these random effects, they're calculated random effects. Raven Idol being a prime example of that. Discover is one of these random effects that pro players love because there's so much skill involved to making these choices. Every single random thing that happens in Hearthstone, there is a large element of skill behind them, which a lot of players don't even realize.
Yeah, and I think it's knowledge as well. Like that knowledge and that decision making alongside the skill that kind of chooses who is going to be the victors in a lot of these scenarios, but that's going to be the first one going the way of Jammy. So our kind of Ghost, as you described him earlier, taking the first one in this series. Raven obviously was our very first victor of the day on stream, but it was via reverse sweep. Are we going to see a similar storyline here? That's going to be one of the questions. But
I think one interesting thing to note is that, you know, players right now, no one actually bans Druid. No one ever bans Druid. And the thing is that Druid has an incredibly strong win rate across the board, right? It either has a neutral matchup or against aggressive decks, especially if you're running like double Ancient of War, double Moonglade Portal, you're really, really favored. So, and I think both players are actually running my version of the Malagos Druid. So, pretty interesting. Raven letting that Druid slide by with a win. But this matchup should technically be favored for Raven because he runs quite a lot of AoE, and it's hard for the Zoolock to deal with like totemic mighted minions.
Yeah, that being said, it sort of depends how fast the Zoolock can get their threats out there. And you know, that Sea Giant in Jammy's hand indicates to me that actually traditional Zoo minus the Karazhan discard cards does still exist.
yeah, I was about to say, we're going a little bit old school here with the Sea Giant, and that immediately says to me we're very likely not going to see those discard cards coming in, because Sea Giant is one of those cards that you very much don't want to get rid of it in those kinds of scenarios.
Yeah, I mean, Sea Giant, if you run Sea Giant and discard Warlock, then that's just going to get discarded every single time.
Yeah, absolutely. You run it with Leroy Jenkins rather than with Doom Guards.
I think that people change it up sometimes, right? Sometimes you have like double Doom Guard, sometimes you have one Doom Guard and a Sea Giant, or one of each, something like that. Yeah, he's definitely hit in. Really good play there from Jammy, but probably there's, I mean, it's, okay.
So the Spirit Claws is actually pretty good
Whoa.
here. That's interesting. Is Raven going to go face with the Totem Golem?
I think that the face damage actually doesn't matter, but maybe
you
the
have to
trading,
trade.
maybe trading of the minion isn't horrible either. Like a Darkshire Councilman will punish you a little bit, right?
Surely you have to... Face goes into the 1/1 Shadow Beast, and then the Totem Golem goes into the 2/1 if you're trading.
I mean, this concept is something that a lot of players will disagree about, right? Whereas, like, okay, if the trade there on board is marginal, then you should just go face.
There it is.
Yeah, but you know, we can sit here for the whole day discussing which one's the correct one. I personally agree with you, Falcone, where I like to just trade, just because I don't know, the face damage does matter because of life tap, but overall, not really.
Against a Zoo deck, generally clearing the board as much as possible is the strategy you want to go for. We're actually seeing a Soulfire in Jammy's deck. That I didn't expect that.
It might actually be some sort of disco lock with Sea Giant, as interesting as it is, but it almost doesn't make sense because discard a Warlock, they also don't really run, say, the Forbidden Ritual as well, because that's another card that gets stuck in your hand. So it's pretty interesting to see what Jammy is actually going to be doing.
At the moment, I can imagine that the Sea Giant probably, as you foresaw before, it probably will just get discarded now we've seen this Doom card.
Pretty interesting attack there from Raven. He pretty much thinks that like this Darkshire Councilman is going to be able to kill the man side anyways, so he might as well just pop it now just so that he has another attack next turn. But yeah, I'm not quite sure. That's correct. Okay, let's see if he can.
Okay, another 1/1 taunt. The problem with Barnes on turn 4 in this deck is that most of the cards that synergize with Barnes in that Shaman deck require you to play other things as well.
Yeah.
Whether it's Thunderbuff Valiant with a hero power or whether it's Wicked Witch Doctor with a spell.
Yeah.
And so no matter what Raven got there, I don't think there was much that would have been that beneficial with Barnes, I mean.
I've seen
that was probably the best draw from life tap he could have got, right? With
Yeah.
the Councilman's there, the perfect 3-drop, gets the nice couple of trades on board as well.
I mean, any minion would have been able to do it. Even without a minion, he could have soul-fired. But yeah, but you're definitely correct. That's
It's
exactly
just nice
what he
that it
wants.
like perfectly fits the curve, and it's that such a difficult minion to get rid of, and every single imp that appears buffs up both of those Councilmen.
So how exactly does Raven win this game? Like, what's his game plan? The Maelstrom Portal isn't really going to be able to do much without spell damage.
Unfortunately, he's had to play Wicked Witch Doctor just...
Some board.
Yeah, for something to put on the board, for something that Jammy has to deal with.
Look at the Sea Giant, too. He could attack. He could life tap, attack into the Divine Shield with the Imp Gang Boss, and then play the Sea Giant. If he so chose. I think it's worth the tap here. I think it's worth the tap here.
That is definitely one of the more complex plays with Sea Giant, though. It's quite possible that he won't see it. But
he sees it. Okay. But he should tap first. A little bit of misordering there, but Twitch chat will take care of that. So, Forbidden Ritual.
I'd still say, even with the tap second, that was a very advanced play. Very impressive.
Is going to be able to drop down the 8/8 if he so wishes. Will do so in the end, but these Councilmen are getting a little bit out of hand right now, to be honest. They're 6-2 and a 4-4. Is going to deal with the Witch Doctor, though.
So he's playing around board clears there, because he could have actually made it so that both of those Councilmen survived. Instead, he plays around, I guess, Maelstrom Portal and also Lightning Storm. It means he's going to be dealing less damage in the long run, but that Maelstrom Portal is sitting there, so...
I think I would have liked to see just the 1/1 get traded off.
Yeah.
It seems almost unnecessary to just hit the face for 4 at this point.
If you leave a 1/1 around, it's going to deal with your 8/8, apparently.
Yeah.
And at least the good thing for Raven now is that these Flametongue Totems are buffing each other, so they're at least going to deal some damage if Jammy decides to pick them off.
I still don't really think that Jammy should ever lose this, but just not clearing that 1/1 is a little bit questionable.
Yeah, it does seem that Jammy's in a really good position here.
Good.
Oh, goodness. Here we go. Forbidden Ritual with the Juggler and the Councilman.
I don't know if I like this, to be honest. I don't think, first of all, I don't think he needed to Ritual here just because it opens up to AoE. I would have liked to see like just some trades and then maybe a Defender Argus and a tap. There's no need to go that all in right now. So...
I suppose what he's thinking, though, is look at his hand. Soulfire Leroy Jenkins, right? Like, all you have to do is prep for lethal next turn.
Sure.
If Raven can pick up a spell damage totem and a way of dealing with that Councilman, then that Maelstrom Portal's pretty much going to take this game back. And it is. It's going to deal with everything except the Knife Juggler right now.
Yeah, so that will be lethal still for
It
Jammy.
still doesn't matter, though. Yeah, this is the thing. Leroy. Oh,
Still,
what?
it's still lethal because you can soul fire the shield bearer, but that was still insane.
Yeah, I panicked for a second there. I was like, wait. Everything's falling apart. No, it is okay in the end. With the knife juggler still on board.
It's okay for Jammy, but Raven is now in the position where he's going to need to take a reverse sweep.
I mean, I think that Raven puts himself in these positions on purpose, just because he's like, yeah, look at me, I'm not just a caster.
He wants to show off.
Yeah,
That's actually why he lost the last series as well.
I
It's so that he
think
can make a more dramatic
He
comeback.
wanted to get back on stream. He loves the limelight. But yeah, that is going to be now a 2-0 lead for JammyJMG. And we were saying again, this is that unknown player. This is that kind of Hello Leroy, that mysterious from last season. And he's looking to make his way into the group stages.
I mean, you say that, but I think he might even be more mysterious and even more Leroy after that last game than either of those players. So
yeah, I think that's a fair point to make on that one. But let's take a quick look at the decks. We didn't actually get a chance to look at them
that's right.
before those last 2 series. But in fact, it is going to be this Reno lock again by the looks of things up against a Dragon Warrior. So curious to see what style of Dragon Warrior this is as well. We've kind of been talking about how there are different styles, but this looks a lot like that kind of old school version.
Yeah, it's typical. It probably runs the Curator as an additional because that seems to be the general tech-in from Karazhan that the players are using right now.
Basically, like sometimes some players cut like Grommash and they only run Rag as a top end just because like the Curator gives you so much value. But you know, so Munch and I, we were talking earlier and we said that oftentimes Dragon Warrior just loses to itself. Like, just look at this draw. This is just, you have 4 dead cards in your hand as Jammy, and you're playing what's supposed to be one of your favorite matchups, Reno Lock.
It's horrible. He needed to draw into a Fiery War Axe or an Alexstrasza champion there. That Frothing Berserker is just slightly too slow. It is just going to die to Shadow Bolt, and Raven is actually able to hold on to that Doomsayer and probably get value with that later.
I will say though, in this kind of scenario as the Dragon Warrior, it is likely that you draw into the correct cards because most of the cards in this deck are around that kind of 3-4 mana range. So it's very likely when you've got that many high mana cards in your hand that you start to get more into it beyond turn 2.
Yeah, it's kind of weird though because pretty much in this deck you want to usually full mulligan for like Alexstrasza's champion.
Yep.
Or
Fairy
a Fiery.
Dragon as well.
Yeah, Fairy Dragon, Fiery War Axe. But, when you're going second, it actually helps this deck a lot just because this deck often stumbles. So maybe you can coin out that Frothing Berserker, for example. But now he's going to be playing a very, very fair game after he gave Raven so much time to just breathe.
Yeah, and even now, if Raven wanted to, he could have played the Doomsayer. While it would have died to an Execute, it's just exactly as you said, Deathsea. Raven has time.
Just look at this. This program lead's gonna have to. Whoa!
Not gonna be trading.
Whoa! Okay.
Jammy knows where to go.
I mean, this is a theory that I kind of very strongly believe when it comes to this Dragon Warrior style deck. Is you essentially, if you're against the control, you're playing the aggro, right?
Yep.
And if you're against aggro, you're playing control. And I guess that play pretty much agrees with that theory, right? He knows he's against this kind of very defensive Warlock, so he goes, you know what? I'm going to try and pressure out the Reno as soon as possible.
It's quite interesting because the thing is, even if you pressure out the Reno very quickly, Dragon Warrior has a lot of pressure, but it's like pressure that builds up over time.
Yeah.
Right. So you don't have things from hand like say like a Doomhammer or something that Shamans have, Raven, and you need to play your 9/9 has to stick. You need to actually fight for board very early on, and then maybe later you can have like a Ragnaros or a Grommash to finish the game. But
that was a very strong draw from Raven there, the Twilight Drake. Even though it does mean he has to float a mana unless he feels like playing Corruption.
I think he should play Corruption. I think he should, just because his curve is pretty good. But the thing is that if he actually Corruption, say if he Corruptions the 3/4, he won't have a target for the Bookworm if he draws a dragon.
This Twilight Drake is a 4/8. It almost has to eat up that Execute there.
Yeah.
Unless Jammy wants to trade both of his minions into it. And then that's one Execute that's not hitting Emperor Thurisan or Bookworm or another of the many huge threats in Raven's deck.
Yeah, and the thing is that it's very similar. So Dragon Warrior is kind of similar to mid-range on there, where you just want to play on curve, turn 6, you have to expect Dragon Crusher. Turn 5, you have to expect like Blackwing Corruptor. And, you know, it's somewhat easy to play around. It's like very predictable. So this turn, it's very interesting because he plays that 4-8, and it can't really get executed because Jammy really wants to play a 6-6 this turn.
Whoa, where is Jammy?
Whoa! So
Okay.
he's saying no Shadow Flame, no Hellfire. I mean, maybe the Hellfire is not even that bad because you have to trade in your Drake again.
No, you only have. Oh yeah, you do. Yeah, you do. That's right, because of the taunt.
I love that as well, like, because he's just going face, this is kind of not expected, right? You would anticipate those trades, so he's putting Raven into a situation where actually you have to really consider what else is going to happen in this game. Can you afford to go for the Hellfire and trade, concede that kind of tempo?
And once again, we are getting 4 head count from Raven, so you can tell concentration is at its peak.
So, you know, Raven could have also gone with the Shadow Flame and then hit the Draken. So he could have Shadow Flamed his what's it called? The Funnel Cakes dude. And then
Refreshment vendor.
Yeah, Refreshment vendor, that guy. And then hit in the Drake. But then he would have to tap or play the Doomsayer after that.
Maybe.
So
Not sure which one is better.
the Curator coming down now is actually really huge because it restocks Jammy's hand. Even getting Finley there, so 3 full draws. He's not going to run out of steam anytime soon. Meanwhile, on the other hand, Raven is able to drop Emperor Thaurissan now if he wants to. He also has a handful of threats.
Yeah,
And
just-
the corruption available for
Yeah.
that extra mana.
I think you actually just go with both. The awkward thing is that you don't have another way to deal with the Ragnaros or Grommash, right? Apart from that corruption, but you don't really want to corruption those minions.
No, you want to just deal with them immediately. I like this play a lot.
So this is kind of why I was kind of sketchy on the Siphon Soul. I mean, looking at Jammy's hand, he is going to flood at some point, so that Shadow Flame is going to get value. But yeah, the Siphon Soul is very good versus Dragon Warrior. You just want to kind of save it for a moment that you have to deal with something.
This is a difficult turn for Jammy now. He's going to play the War Axe to finish off that Thaurissan.
And I guess he's going to execute that too.
Yeah, I mean, it depends how much of a tempo swing he wants to go for. Maybe he could pick up a Mage or Druid or even a Rogue hero power here to finish off that Thaurissan.
I actually don't like the Finley here because I would have preferred to see just like him developing more things on board. At this point, he doesn't really know what hero power he wants to begin with. If he finds 1 damage, I guess he can kill the Thor, something like that, and then execute.
I
But,
imagine that Mage is the way he wanted to go there.
I mean, I guess like Mage, you have Rogue, I guess, but you don't really want Rogue because you have Warax. Druid is fine, I guess. I really didn't like the Finley there. I think you could have just saved the Finley for a little bit longer.
Monkey, though, is interesting too. He decides to go with the 3-drop rather than the 2 drops. Less mana efficient. What do you think about that?
I mean, he hasn't seen Hellfire, he hasn't seen Shadow Flame, so I think it's pretty reasonable just to go with that, but a little bit of emoting there from the arguably second most handsome man in Hearthstone. So, what exactly do you think he should do here, Falcone? He's in an awkward spot, right?
I feel like Jammy needs to continue tapping. Like, he could tap and play Alex Strauss as champion.
Maybe.
War Axe the minion. Or do you think he needs to start really hitting the face for damage?
I mean, the thing
That's a
is
good draw.
that he kind of decided his game plan when he played the Finley last turn, right? He was
Right.
like, okay, I'm going to give up a little bit of aggression here. I'm
Yeah.
going to go for different hero power. I guess if he got the Fire Blast, he would still be on that plan, but it still wasn't that aggressive.
Blackwing Corruptor plus the Bookworm does allow Raven to deal with that Twilight Guardian, but it's still very slow. Although Raven is
He could help.
the one who can afford to play slowly. Hellfire, yeah, that's actually very interesting as well.
I think you actually... I like Hellfire first, and then Blackwing Corruptor the Taunt, and then just trade off the M-King boss into the Drake. And then you get a Savior 3-3. Oh, Shadow Flame. Okay. Oh, I guess it's similar. So he values a Hellfire over the Shadow Flame. It's quite interesting.
Okay, and he's able to keep the fully healthy in-gang boss as well.
I've got to say, an interesting line of play, not the one we were really eyeing up ourselves, but it's given him, to be honest, a pretty formidable board to be dealing with here, and it's something that JammyJMG He's going to have to consider his options, but maybe double charge is going to be the route they opt for.
Is he gonna trade?
Yeah, he has to.
well, I think isn't the second time he's traded, right?
He has to
This
start
game, so-
going face eventually, I guess. But maybe the threat of the Reno Jackson being in Raven's hand is just too much. He doesn't want to waste his damage on the face, only for it to get healed again.
No death rattles have died. Is that correct?
I can't think of any.
I don't think there are any death rattles that have died. Not even a harvest golem. So pretty interesting here. There's no. I mean, Raven tapping last. The shame tap last. Oh, with the golden warlock too. Okay, so he's just gonna play this, and then he's just gonna play a 10-mana 5/6. Sorry, 10-mana 5/7 next turn probably.
I think the Doomsay was very nice there. It's difficult for Jammy to deal with. There's no way he wants to waste a second to execute on that. Even though he picked it up, I think he just has to pass this turn.
Yeah.
I think that's a fair assessment.
Or he could get Blood to
no.
Ica, execute, and play a 9/9.
Yeah.
But
I think you actually do that because you have the Core Crown Elite next turn, and if you pick up something like your Fiery War Axe, then it's lethal.
yeah, he's doing it.
So he has one more Fiery War Axe in the deck.
I think that is the only way you would ever do that, is if you can then follow up by playing a 9/9. That is incredible tempo. He is relying on Raven not getting something like a big Game Hunter, though, to deal with it, which we do know Raven runs in this deck.
I think that Raven was actually quite happy about this, just because he didn't want to play the Endot this turn as a 5/7.
Yeah.
So he's looking for an excuse to twist on the other end. He got one, so...
Now Raven really wants to draw into another dragon next turn so that he can play Twilight Guardian and Reno Jackson. It feels like it's time.
I think you can...
I think now it definitely feels like it's time. We're getting dangerously close to Ragnaros lethal there at 9 health.
I think you still tap over Twilight Guardian even if you draw a dragon.
Right.
You could choose the Sun Fury Protector, which is fine, because with the Mortal Coil, say if the Core Crown Elite goes into the Sun Fury, then you can Mortal Coil it afterwards. Yeah, so really good play there from Raven. Just, like, that's the thing about Reno Lock. You just want to tap as much as you can. Like, just squeezing every tap. There are situations where you don't want to do that, but...
Ravaging Ghoul seems like a really good draw for Jammy here, because with that and Blood to Ica, he could deal with the Reno Jackson with the Core Crown Elite if he wanted to.
Oh, you should go first, right? What are you doing?
Yeah, Ghoul and then Blood to Ica.
Whoa. So he's going to damage his minion? Oh, okay, so he's... Oh. Okay, just a little bit of misordering, I guess.
Yeah.
Maybe he has Battle Rage in the deck. Who knows?
Playing into Mortal Coil, though, which we can see that Raven does have.
I mean, it's not even that big of a deal, I guess. But, yeah, it's either he has Battle Rage or he has... or it's just a little bit of misordering. But, you know, this looks pretty good for Raven. What do you think?
Yeah, it looks very good. You're right there. That was definitely some awkward sequencing there. Often you have to play Ravaging Ghoul first because the Blood to Ica will kill the minion and you then don't get the 2/2. But on this occasion, it would have been better to Ravaging Ghoul first. It's looking very good for Raven right now. Comfortably on 27 health, able to play the Acidic Swampooze to deal with Jammy's minion, not making the mistake of tapping last again, and that Ragnaros is where his aggression is really going to start to come back. He's kind of suffering because he doesn't have, I guess, enough death rattles in the deck, but there's Chillmore.
That is insane. But even so, he didn't need it, right? Twilight Guardian plus Ooze would have been a fine turn. Whoa, Jamie wants Deathwing too! This is so greedy. This is actually greedier than any list I've seen.
Can you play it right now? I don't think you can.
So you hit in both threes, and then you play Rag. Rag was a really good draw there. Once again, no depth. I mean, Chillmaw is going to be the only death rattle that died.
Yeah, but...
That's a pretty good one to bring back, though.
Yeah.
Raven's Ragnaros is looking at being lethal right now, though. He can just take a 1 in 3 to win the game next turn if he wants to.
Take a 1 in 3, and if it hits the Rag, it's still fine.
Yeah.
There's no more activators, really.
Demon Wrath is so close.
Ooze Rag, I'm pretty sure that's it.
Yeah.
That's it. Yep. Raven knows what's up, and it's time to...
So the only bag target
to
here...
hit the 3-2.
Yeah.
It's time to flip some coins.
Yeah, Raven was shaking his head there before we even saw what happened.
It's still fine, to be honest. It's still fine. So does he choose the Deathwing? Because the thing is, a Power Overwhelming, which you haven't seen yet, most decks run it. Most Reno decks run it because it's very good with Sylvanas, it's good with Shadow Flame, it's good with if you play Possessed Villager.
Maybe. If the Deathwing were to come down now, though, the thing is, Jammy can't tap anymore. He just can't on 5 health. And Raven can hide behind Twilight Guardian and buy himself at least one more turn, if not two.
It's quite interesting because now there are a lot of things that I think it should still be fine. So Azuric plus Demon Wrath is 3. That's not enough to kill it.
Maybe just Twilight Guardian can, is the line.
I mean, I think actually Enzoth is a little bit better because it brings back the Chilmaw, right?
Yes, it looks like that's what he's going for.
This is probably going to meet a Deathwing.
Yeah, which Raven still has the answer to in Twilight Guardian. Jammy has 2 health left. This is so close to the wire.
Yeah, I mean, Raven could tap for some things because Jammy took a very, very risky line in a way because he was dead to Jiraxis, dead to Power Overwhelming, dead to Peddler, probably. So
Jammy drawing exactly what Raven needs to see on
whoa,
his
whoa,
side.
whoa, 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 whoa! What are you doing with this Blackwing Corruptor first? You should hit both in and then Blackwing Corruptor the 3-1 because you know he has a drag. Oh, sorry. The for some reason I thought that Raven played Enzoth. Okay, so yeah, he's like, okay, I can't clear everything instead of Vape Nash from Raven.
Now
this is a reverse sweep.
it looks like it could be.
Well, I mean, that's classic Raven style, according to the promos at least. He's did it in the first series. I mean, he's got his work cut out, that is for sure, but it is still 2-1 in favor of Jammy. So I think that was an interesting series from Jammy, or an interesting match from Jammy as well, just because of how aggressive he went for some of that match. And I don't know, we'll see if he keeps up with that style, but here we go. It's going to be Druid now from Raven.
Okay, guys. So I actually have a large sample size with this, with my Druid list that Raven's running. So as opposed to the other lists run double Violet Teacher, double Power of the Wild. This list runs double Ancient of War, double Moonglade Portal. My win rate versus Dragon Warrior is actually extremely high, probably like over 65%, something like that, like very, very polarized. But let's see if Jammy can.
So you think this is incredibly favored for the Druid?
Not incredibly favored, but definitely favored. Definitely favored.
It's actually quite rare, given how dominating this Dragon deck has been recently. It's quite rare to find a deck that is favored against it. But
it's kind of interesting because so Sixto and I, we were talking about it, and we really think that Dragon Warrior is a bad deck. Like, yeah, we think it's a bad deck.
Right now, or just in general?
Okay, when during the time of Insomnia, this is right before the third wing came out, and also now.
Yeah.
Yeah, so in between, so from then to now, we think that it's not very good.
Yeah. Right, I mean, previously, it was like no bad matches.
Yeah, like previously, it was insane, but now it's like, maybe like changing the deck list made a little bit less aggressive. I'm not exactly sure why, but things have changed for sure. Wow.
So Wrath going to be used early on here by Raven just to get a little bit of control back on the board, but
yeah,
Fierce Monkey available, so
look at how much mana Raven has. It's insane.
Yeah. So Raven's game plan is just basically right now control the board, don't die, play Yogg-Saron, come back.
Not even that, but like Ancient of Wars,
Yeah.
Arcane Giants. The thing is, they only run 2 executes, so you can't actually kill everything in it. And Moonglade Portal gives you so much sustain. Right, so sustain's kind of a word that we use just to like, okay, how good can the deck survive? You know, how well can a deck just not die so that it can kind of reach that very strong late game it has? And you know, I think that compared, you know, maybe Control Warrior has the best sustain, but the Yogg Druid is very, very good at it as well. Okay, so Raven has some decisions to make here. I mean, I guess not. Swipe. So you swipe and then you just Moonfire and then use Hero Power. This is once again why this deck is kind of broken. Moonfire is maybe one of the most insane cards in the game, just with all the spell damage.
Well, I think it's like specifically in this deck, Moonfire is one of the most insane cards in the
But
game.
what's so great about it is just how versatile it is. Like the difference between an okay
Raven.
Oh.
Raven, not like this. Oh no. I think this is gonna add to Raven's memes. Oh my goodness. Hopefully that doesn't come back to bite him. He should be fine. Maybe it's just a BM innervate.
By the look on his face, I'm not sure that was intentional. I think that was a little bit of a slip up.
Man, I mean, this happens to everyone, but the timing.
Not
is
me. Not me.
Okay. I was saying before, the difference between a good player playing this deck and a great player playing this deck is knowing that you don't have to save Moonfire for Malagos.
Yeah.
You have to play it exactly when it's most convenient to play it. And Raven did that in order to clear the board before.
Look at how hard Jammy is laughing. Just look at that face, just staring Raven down. This Wrath is pretty good. I think you actually want to cycle with this just because... Oh, okay. I mean, you get to protect your Drake.
Yeah, it's
what am
a
I
really,
talking about? What am I talking
it's a really hard decision, but I actually like killing the Drake
Whoa.
there. You leave yourself a 4-attack beat stick, and then next turn, Raven can come in with the Yogg-Saron and hopefully make up for that mistake a little bit earlier.
So how much of a tell is the Ram for mana going into turn, going into turn 10, or going to 10 mana?
But like, what can Jammy do about it? He can't just stop playing minions just in case Yogg-Saron comes out.
And also, to be honest, like considering how few cards Raven has actually had, it's not that likely that Yogg-Saron is there, like statistically. However, there has been a card over to the left of his hand for a very, very long time. So
how many spells does he have? 6 or 7 spells, I think.
Oh, that's gonna help a lot if he can. If he can get an innovate from this, that's.
He doesn't need to Yogg this turn. To be honest.
You're right.
Yeah.
An Ancient of War, I guess, would be the ideal draw.
Oh, what did he get?
Moonfire. That's not what he wants.
Nah, you should just hero power that down and then just trade. There's no need to. There's no need to Moonfire this.
Agreed. And he still has enough health. Like Raven isn't in immediate danger right now.
You also don't activate Blackman Corruptor, so you should be fine with this. This Moonfire, you still have 1 Drake, 1 Malagos, 1 Thalanos.
I've got to say, I love how this deck just randomly includes Deathwing as well. With the inclusion of Curator, it's kind of like that extra option to draw.
It's like, hey, I don't have enough value yet. I don't have enough powerful things in my deck. I'm just gonna keep Deathwing in there.
It's almost like that variant slot, I guess. That 10 mana, just like last resort card almost.
Look at Raven. Okay. Yeah, that's a pretty good draw. So you use Hero Power, swipe Moonfire that. Once again, you're just
it's hard.
chilling.
It's really hard. You're at 20 health. The worst thing Jammy could do next turn is, I suppose, play Ragnaros and put Raven down to...
Okay.
Oh, okay. I'm surprised he didn't play the Moonfire first.
I think it's very marginal, and also with Malagos and the other spell damage things in the deck, I think it's okay.
Oh!
That's not the one he wanted to gang up, but...
So...
Still not bad, though.
No.
There's an Azure Drake in the deck for the Curator. Oh, okay, there are no more... Oh, sorry, there's Malagos.
Okay.
And what about a Beast? They don't run any Beasts. And what about a Murloc? They don't run any Murloc. So it would just fetch Malagos, pretty much.
Where's that going? Okay.
Oh, so good! Moonfire too. Okay.
That's okay. He really could have done... I know he got the Arcane Intellect.
Whoa. I mean, I just noticed that Yogg-Saron survived. This is the thing that doesn't happen. Yogg-Saron, the rules of Yogg-Saron...
Not only survived, but got buffed too.
Yeah.
And is on Raven's side of the field.
Yeah, and like pretty much... Okay, you can't read it on the card, but it says, cast a spell for every... Cast a random spell for every spell you cast this game, and Yogg kills itself. Yeah, that's if you look at the flavor text, it's right there.
I've got to say, I think that's one of the cleanest Yogg-Sarons I've seen. Like, basically nothing negative happened.
He would have liked a little bit more card draw, because he does need to account for the fact he's going to draw into these curators that he's put into this deck, which aren't actually as good as the cards already in his deck, or he would be running it himself.
I think his hand is good, though. Like, oh man, a little bit of misordering once again. So he could Ravaging Ghoul and then play the Ichor. So he made himself weak to swipe. That's very interesting. I'm almost convinced now that he has Battle Rage.
I was about to say, yeah, I think he has Battle Rage. That's got to be the reason, because he's done that multiple times now.
You cannot take life tap. This is a thing that you cannot take.
I don't know about the Battle Rage thing. I just think it's something he's so used to doing, is playing it in that order.
Yeah. So look at Raven's hand. His hand is insane, right? Look, that's swipe
Innovate.
already.
Drake swipe. If he could get Innovate here, he could play Ancient of War, Innovate swipe.
I mean, if he gets another 4 damage, it's just lethal, right?
Naturalize.
Is it? Yeah,
That's lethal. Wow.
Oh, man.
Well, here we go. The reverse sweep is looking very real right now. JammyJMG not quite able to make this Dragon Warrior work for himself, and Raven is finding his way back into this series.
I'm telling you guys, this Druid deck is insane. Possibly the best Druid deck. And Dragon Warrior, I don't think it's good. I'm not convinced. I'm not convinced, right?
The shocking thing really is that it's not even that every single card Raven played countered, because he did throw out that Innovate. He made a pretty significant mistake there and was able to pull it back.
And here we go, Shaman.
It was just BM. Yes?
Shaman, people, Shaman.
Sorry.
Actually,
I think it's a Northern English thing, you know, because I've always said Shaman.
Really?
And I realize Raven just gets it so much for saying
I
Shaman.
think I said Shaman when I first started streaming and got bullied out of it very quickly.
Well, one thing I will say, and I think this is Raven's pinned tweet, the English pronunciation of the word is actually Shaman.
Yeah.
guys, I hated to break it to you guys, but it's actually pronounced Shahaman.
Shahaman.
Yeah, it's Shahaman. This is how we say it in Texas, yeah. Shahaman. But I've heard some of my French friends say Chaman. Chaman with like a cha.
Oh my God.
I have heard that before, actually. One of my old guildies when I was raiding years ago.
All right, so Jammy picking up the Finley.
Sorry.
Jammy picking up the Finley on turn 1 there seems very relevant to me. Almost definitely this has to be life tap, doesn't it?
It's pretty awkward just because the aggression from the meme from the meme shaman is pretty random, right? Like sometimes they can just like have an aggressive start because they run all the aggressive minions anyways, and sometimes they don't. So this life tap may or may not be good. Oh my gosh, this is Raven with a really nice play here.
Coin Monkey is looking pretty juicy right now.
Yeah.
Jammy has seen this deck already, so he does know it's the Witch Doctor one.
I'm not sure exactly who is favored in this matchup, just because we never see.
Yeah,
this
like how
thing.
often do you see this deck?
If you watch some players like Loyan or maybe Sottles played it a little bit, but apart from that, not really. Rockbiter, you could Hero Power Rockbiter, I guess, but I'm fine with the Tuskar. He didn't have the Ravaging Ghoul, so I'm pretty sure that Ravaging Ghoul would have came down if Jammy had it, but
And this is just a really difficult turn from Raven. You definitely can't play the Hex here. The Rockbiter weapon is looking a little bit tempting just to make that trade.
Yeah.
And you can also Totem on top of that. Or you could go with the Tuskar Totemic and hope that it gives you the Flame Tongue. And there it is!
wow, Jammy, just look at Jammy's face, he's in disbelief.
Raven himself looks incredibly surprised that happened, but again, calculated.
Yes.
He knew there was a chance of it. He knew that the chance of that was good enough to outweigh the possible downsides, and he took the chance, and it paid off.
Yeah, I mean, if you think about it, a lot of the rolls there were good for Raven. You have taunts, you have the 1/1 is fine. You have, Mana Tide, you have Totem Golem, and you also have the Flame Tongue. The Flame Tongue was definitely the best one. Whoa, Raven! That's definitely a misplay. So Raven should have used the Rockbiter first and then equipped the Spirit Claws afterwards.
Yeah.
So Raven knows he misplayed.
The thing is, it's been a really long night now.
Yeah.
I mean, speaking for us, every single series has gone to the final game. We didn't see Raven's previous series, but his first series got to the last game. And I imagine that at this point, he's tired.
So are you just saying this because Raven was your pick to win the tournament, Falcone?
No comment on that.
Yeah, so pretty reasonable turn, I guess, here from Jammy, but it seems very fair, right? So, like, his turn's very fair, whereas Barnes is coming down next turn. This could just end the game. Yeah, as you said before, Barnes is very good on turn 7, so you have Thunder Bluff and stuff. But that's pretty good.
Not too sure. I think one of often a really good scenario is that you get like a 1-drop minion because you rarely lose stats on them, and if they're in your deck, they're usually worth having as a 1. But here we go. The buffed up totems march forward, and we're getting awfully close to lethal here. 3 HP remaining.
Nice life tap.
Oh, yeah, you're right. That life tap was awful. That Deathwing not looking so good either.
It.
He's going to have done it. 2 reverse sweeps tonight.
Yeah, I mean, we're pretty sure that this is Raven's plan, right? Raven is a very flashy guy, right? He like anyone who's met him, like you know, he's a flashy guy. So this is probably the scenario he plotted from the very beginning.
Honestly, I think he's a man who's out on a mission tonight. You know, a lot of people consider him the caster.
Yeah.
He's here to prove he's won big tournaments before, and he's gonna do it again.
Even through the messed up innervate and the rock biter weapon, it doesn't matter. It's just all BM. It's just all BM.
It's all just playing for the long con, but either way, whatever his strategy, Raven has somehow managed to pull it together. 3-2 is going to be the final score.